Lizzie, can I just say I am the best at predicting what topic we need to talk about? Like 2 days after we
Oh
record
my
an
God.
episode about
I'm not
the
here for
Nintendo
this
Switch
slander.
2, what was announced? What was announced?
I'm not here for this slander.
It's so good.
Uh-huh.
We really nailed it with the timing on that one.
Oh, you're talking about that. Okay, I thought you were talking about the Kelly slander that we ensued
No, no,
last
no, that's
night
funny.
on
We'll
my
talk about
end
that.
about how I only play Zelda and that's all I talk about.
It's true.
Um,
That's not slander if it's the truth.
Listen,
But
I'm still angry about them releasing the stuff about the Switch 2 after we did it. I was like, y'all couldn't have waited. Let us get our predictions out first, okay? And then y'all can talk about what y'all want to talk about. But the Still Loading podcast had their predictions up, and I would have liked to have gone first. Thank you.
hey, you know what? I think a lot of our predictions were spot on too,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of exciting.
I
So
do. And I'm very interested to see what comes of the Switch 2. So that
yeah,
will be a whole nother thing of like, it was interesting to see the whole like backwards compatible thing, which will be really great. Um, just like the bigger screen, which we talked about. So yeah, super excited for a lot of things. I think I'll probably end up buying one. It's time for mine to get an upgrade anyways. Like I said, I've had it
oh,
since it first came out.
there's no probably about it.
Yeah,
I'm buying one.
especially with like what we talked about, like what is the chances of them dropping a big name
Mm.
game with it, whether it's like Mario or Zelda or
Metroid.
something. Like it's bound to be something I'm going to be interested in.
Yeah, especially if
But
it's Zelda, because apparently that's the only thing you play.
let me
So
key you guys in on what happened to me last night. I got my ass handed to me. Not really. I appreciate it. It was very funny. I laughed very, very hard. So funny enough, me and Alex and a few other pals were in a Discord call just chatting. Kelly, who we talk about quite often on this podcast, we just absolutely adore her, who is Hero Carry on Twitch. Um, she was doing a stream and I was like, oh, Kelly is streaming. I'm going to go in and say, hey. Kelly is an avid podcast listener. And it is probably one of my favorite things that some of our friends do where they really, really keep up with the podcast. And no one has to. I just appreciate when people do. So I was like, oh, Kelly's such an avid podcast listener. Like, I appreciate you telling her this in her stream. And she's like, I love the podcast. And then I was like, do you want to know what we're talking about tomorrow? And she's like, of course. And I was like, Zelda. And she's like, oh, that makes sense. You only talk about and play Zelda Horizon
Dragon
and
Age.
Dragon Age. And I was like,
No. What she said was again. I was like, actually, we haven't had a Zelda topic yet.
this was also kind of true. This is also different because we'll get into this, but we are going to do a tier list today, which I think will be really fun because you're going to hear our Alex and I argue about where we think some of these are going to fall, and you're going to find out like which ones our favorite are, and blah blah blah.
I'm gonna upset some people today.
Probably, but it was very very funny. Kelly slander or Lizzie slander on Kelly's end that did make me chuckle. But again, to what I say is whatever. I live by that. It is very true. I love Zelda. Since I was young, it consumes so much of my life. And this is not Kelly slander. Kelly, if you're listening, I took no offense to it. I thought it was very, very funny, just to clear the air. But, and again, this also brings another good point of why I love this podcast, because hopefully we're going to start getting to, you guys are going to go to like be with me as I play more games. On the topic of what we talked about previously on New Year's resolutions, I will say my playing games has not gone well, but reading books has gone phenomenal.
That's awesome. My New Year's resolution is on track.
I was going to say, what are we at? What number are we at now, Alex?
I'm at 12 board games out of the 40 some that I need to play.
Oh, so you're going to fly through these. We're going to be like 3 episodes later. You're going to be like, I'm done. New Year's resolution, gone.
And I'm on game 2 of 12, and it's February. So I'm going to call that
you're going to smash it, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm playing through Jedi Survivor right now. So I finished, since we last talked, like Jess and I play a lot of board games, especially in the winter. And then I was like, well, I didn't actually beat Fallen Order. I was only I was on chapter 5 of 6 or something. So I finished Fallen Order, and I've started up Jedi Survivor, which has been a lot of fun. And I'm hoping to finish that by the end of the month because Avowed comes out, and I really want to play that when it comes out. So
I do think we're gonna need to kind of like play that side by side because I'm super excited about that one.
okay,
Not necessarily side by side, but I am very curious to like compare notes and like start at the same time and see how each other feels.
okay.
It was
It'll
really
be a good diversion from your Marvel playing.
yeah, that's another thing that I've been playing a lot of is Marvel Rivals. If you are a Marvel Rivals fan, you get it. It's so addicting and it's so good. Never thought I would be into a game like this, but it does consume my life. But back on like what have we been doing and catching up with our New Year's resolutions. Like I said, like I have God of War sitting, like it's on my main screen. I keep like my the monitor's right in front of me. It stays like completely empty, and like normally I put anything else on my other side. And I will say God of War is sitting there and it's been staring at me. I think I had a hard time letting go of Dragon Age, to be honest. I think when I finished that game, it really hurt my soul to like let it go. And I think that's why I had a hard time stepping into Baldur's Gate. And then I was like, I'll just try like God of War. And then it didn't stick either. And then Marvel Rivals happened. And yeah. But I did say I was going to start reading, and I have finished 2 books.
Ooh,
I
what did
started
you
Fourth
finish?
Wing. Well, okay,
Okay,
so y'all want to hear something funny? If you have been listening, you've heard me talk about Fourth Wing and how I was super excited that another one was coming out. And I kept calling it the second one. It wasn't the second one. It was
it's
the
the
third
third
one.
one.
Yep. Didn't realize that until later on. And so I finished the first one. I just finished the second one like that was
Like
yesterday, so February
yesterday, I think.
1st.
Yeah,
Yeah. I already had the third one, so I'm starting the third one. I will say they are incredible. They're super, super good. So yeah, that has been consuming a lot of my time too. I've been getting off my computer a lot to go read, which has been really good for me too, which is
yeah.
I can appreciate.
I think that's been my limiting factor with gaming as well. Like we've talked about it before. Like I in my evenings, I much prefer to do things just away from screens, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's like board games or painting or Lego or like running and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've been really enjoying that.
Wait.
What?
Okay, the people don't know, and I'm not even sure I know. You sent me a Snapchat the other day with what side do I choose because Alex has the Lego Deco Tree, if you guys didn't know.
Yeah.
And the other day he sent me a Snapchat and he's like, "What?" It was like the booklet, and it was like, "What side do I choose?" Did you pick a side? Did you
Okay.
finish it?
So for a little bit more context, the Deku tree can build either the Deku tree from Breath of the Wild or Ocarina of Time. And it uses different parts. It has different leaves and stuff, and like it looks different. Um, and the Breath of the Wild one is a little bit larger than the Ocarina of Time version.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes, you build to a certain point, and then it says, all right, if you want to build the Ocarina of Time Deku tree, go to page 267. And if you want to build the Breath of the Wild one, just continue on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you look, Lizzie, I'll direct you behind me here. I have an incomplete
I
Deku
was gonna say
tree.
that looks like the wait. Do they have? Does it have glass panels?
Yeah,
Oh,
glass
that's
panels because it's
cool.
cat proof.
Nice.
So,
I love that.
um, so I have not started the kind of second phase of the Deku Tree build yet, but I'm going to be
Okay.
doing the Ocarina of Time one for two reasons. One, um, I think it's classic, and
Mhm.
two, the Breath of the Wild one does not fit in the glass case, and I need to protect it from the
I was
cats.
gonna say that will win an argument. So
Yeah. So, and also everyone I sent it to said Ocarina of Time. So,
I
um,
think that would have been my pick too. I will one day. I don't know. I'm like, one day I'm gonna buy it, and then I'm like, one day I'm just gonna like put like a GoFundMe together for it. And I really want it to sit back here. I know, guys. I have been saying, hey, if you're listening, you can watch this on YouTube. I'm really sorry that those have not been uploaded. The videos for these have been a little wonky, and I slightly have a problem with things being perfect. And so with them not being to the quality that I like, I haven't been uploading them. So I'm hoping to fix that soon. I'm really sorry if you guys have been looking for them and you're like, Lizzie, you liar. They are not on YouTube. You can listen to them on YouTube. You just might not be able to see them. But behind me,
Sure.
there are shelves that have like pops and all kinds of other stuff. And I would love to have the Deku Tree on this freaking shelf one day.
Yeah.
Be pretty cool. Just not today because that is a pretty penny that I don't quite have yet. But maybe I'll start saving. We'll see.
See, I justify it because it becomes my date nights with my wife, right? Like
That is
I'll
really
do.
cool.
We were watching Sex Lives of College Girls and like building Lego together.
I love that. You see, my problem is if I got the Deku Tree, I would not let my husband be like, I'd be like, nope, this is mine.
Oh,
My thing,
no,
don't touch it.
she has her own
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
She does the flowers. She does the botanicals, and I do mainly Star Wars stuff.
Maybe that's what I'll do today. For Christmas, I did get the succulents, and maybe
Oh
I'll make
yeah.
the succulents and put them back here. The other thing, because you said painting earlier and it clicked in my head, that's another thing that I want to do this year is I bought Pokemon cards. I have like 2 small
Mm,
decks, and I really want to do, and I think we've talked about this before early on, like how you paint out like
the borders
the board,
of
yeah, the
yeah.
borders of it. So I do want to do that, and that's why I originally bought Pokemon cards. So I need to just order the paint, and I think that's something else I'm gonna try to do this year.
That's
Um,
awesome. Because Kate Anderson does that quite a bit, right?
mhm, yep.
Yeah.
And another really cool thing that one of our friends have been doing. So we had Bruce, who's Bruce Winless on Twitch, on here early in the episode in this season, and he got a gift from one of our mutual friends. Her name is Caitlin, and what she does was really cool. She takes the sleeves of Pokemon cards, like you can go buy
Oh
like
yeah.
individual ones, and she buys like these stickers that match them, right? And she
Mhm.
decorates it. And I don't know how she does it because it doesn't look just like stickers on the outside. Like it looks really, really cool. And then she puts the Pokemon card in it and it like matches it. I'd have to find a picture. I'll have to see if like our buddy Bruce will send me a picture of his. And she's been doing that, and those are really, really cool because they're really like you put the card in the sleeve and it's like really pretty because there's like all these like matching stickers that like make it look really cute.
Oh
And
cool.
that one's also been really, really, really neat. But all of that to say, we're gonna start a tier list
Tier
for
list time.
The Legend of Zelda. Um, do you want to share this? We can put it up so we both
Yeah.
can see it. Do you want to
We,
do that and you can move them or I can? I don't really care.
um. Do you want to?
Yeah, I can do that. All right, let's see. The good thing is we don't have to worry about sound for any of this. I'm gonna see if I can't zoom in real quick. For those of you who are listening, we are looking at the tier maker. If you guys have ever done a tier list, if you go to Google and you type in whatever you're looking for and tier maker comes up and they have legit everything you could ask for. And that's how we found this. So thank you, tier maker, for the help today. There we go. Much better. I feel like we can see better now.
I can see.
Beautiful. So yeah, Alex and I have not talked about this. We have no idea where each other thinks we're going to want to put all of these. And so yeah, you guys are going to hear us argue about where some of these belong. I do think there's going to be some that we agree on, but I'm a little scared of some of my big ones or his big ones we're going to disagree on.
Probably. And here's the other thing. The Legend of Zelda has a lot of great games. I
Uh-huh.
have played almost all of them. But I don't want to put everything in S tier.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to try to get a bit of a normal curve, like a normal distribution, right?
Yeah,
Like
I think
I feel
that's
like the
fair.
majority of games should be in like B or C, and
Mm-hmm.
like just like the tippy top is in S, and then like a bunch of good ones in A. You
Okay.
know?
I feel that. I feel that. I can agree with that.
Because if like if you're asking me compared to other video games, I'd put most of them in S tier.
Mm-hmm. But if we're
But
just looking at Zelda,
yeah,
gotta have a little bit of bias in here. Do we want to just start from the beginning? We'll just go oldest to
sure.
newest, you know? Okay. Okay. So OG, The Legend of Zelda.
Okay. Have you played this, Lizzie?
I haven't, but I have seen a lot of this. So while I haven't played it, I've watched a good bit of other people play this one.
Okay, so I really like this game,
Uh-huh.
but I don't think I would enjoy a blind playthrough of it.
No?
When I play, I pull up a map. I'm like, I don't want to remember where, all the heart pieces are and all
Mhm.
the bushes that you can burn to get stuff. I just want a map.
Yeah.
But it is like an enjoyable, like I can usually beat it now, and with the map I can beat it in like 2 hours, 3 hours.
I think
Uh,
my bias for so many of these are also gonna come from emotion, to be honest.
sure, sure.
I'm gonna try to, like, split them up between, like, emotion and how I actually feel about the game. This one is, like reminds me so much of, like, my mom and, like, just
Mm.
very I mean, it's the original that I think if I had to place it, I'd place it in B.
Oh, that's generous.
Yeah?
I was gonna say C,
Uh,
because I
okay,
I I
okay.
think
No, I
about,
can
like,
agree
it's
with
just
that
very
as I look at
rudimentary.
more of all of them.
It feels very rudimentary to where, everything else is going, because it was the first one and it was made
Mhm.
in the 80s. And if I were to recommend a Zelda game, like a 2D Zelda game to people, this is generally one that I'd be like, wait,
Mhm.
don't play this one for a little
Yeah,
while.
yeah, yeah. No, okay. I can get down with that. I'm not gonna argue that one too hard. So that's okay. I can't read some of these. So
So this is Zelda 2 Adventure of Link.
this one I don't know anything about, I don't think. I don't know if I've seen much of this one. I don't know if I know
So
anything about this.
this one is sort of the black sheep of the series. You have it's got like an overworld that's like top down, and then a bunch of random encounters in the overworld. But when you like go into a dungeon or a town or you fight a monster, it goes to like a 2D, like a side scrolling view.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Um, yeah, so it's very, very different than the other Zelda games. It has like RPG mechanics where you're leveling up your magic, your health,
Mhm.
um, from gaining experience points.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think it's one of the weaker games in the series, but I think it's got some cool ideas and some cool concepts that like I would like to see another developer take some of the ideas and make it modern, kind of like
Mhm.
what Shovel Knight did, but like
Uh-huh. Oh
even
my
more.
god, I forgot about Shovel Knight, to
Um,
be honest.
oh, what a great game!
Yeah.
But I don't like Adventure Link at all. D tier.
I was gonna say, yeah, just based on like my knowledge of it, I was gonna say deer.
Deer.
Do you know how many people bring up deer dump in my life now
What's
after
Deer Dump?
the Pokemon that I
Oh,
didn't know
oh,
what the name of it was,
oh,
and now everybody's like deer dump, and I'm like, yeah, deer dump.
Deer Dump.
I will also say so many of these early ones, I don't know as well as I thought I did. As I'm looking at them, I'm like, shit, I don't know how many of these I know. So I also am not gonna have a great bias for some of these beginning ones. But
Okay.
Links to the Past.
Okay, this is I think where we're going to start having some disagreements here. I think this is one of the best Zelda games ever
I
made.
was gonna say I knew that you liked this one. My problem is I need to look up some of these to see them because I forget what
So
some
this
of
is
them are.
this is the Super Nintendo like Zelda game. It's 2D. It starts off in the light world. You go through 3 dungeons in the light world. Then when you get the Master Sword, you go to Hyrule Castle to save Zelda. You get transported into the dark world, and then there's 7 more dungeons you need to play through to rescue 7 sages and gain access to Ganon's tower.
So this
Kind of sounds
is
like
I was gonna
Ocarina of Time,
yeah, I was gonna
but
say, so
before
this is
Ocarina of
like
Time, people talk about how Ocarina of Time defines Zelda. I'm like, no, A Link to the Past defines Zelda. Ocarina of
oh,
Time
I
ripped
see
off
where this
everything
this
good
this
about.
argument is going. Okay. Um
It's got the hook shot. It's got the hammer.
yeah, it does have I the more that I think about it, I do remember having this game. And I do remember starting it. I think young Lizzie didn't play as many of these games fully through. I do remember
Sure.
liking it though, because like as a kid, this art style wasn't like super foreign to us. I feel like we
Yeah.
still like had an appreciation for this. For like I think kids nowadays going back
Mm.
and trying to play this would be like, what in the pixel art is this? You know?
See, I got it for the Game Boy Advance, like the version that they ported to Game Boy Advance with 4 swords on it.
That's I think what I
And
had because I was gonna say I feel like I remember having
yeah,
like a cartridge for
yeah.
mine.
And I played So much of it. I can 100% this game without looking at a guide. I know where everything is. Um, I played it a lot as a kid, and then when I got back into watching Twitch towards the end of university, the first streamers that I watched were all randomizer players for Link to the Past randomizers. So like Dragon Feeney, Andy, um, Christos, Owen, like a lot of these like people who are big in the Zelda speedrunning world. And this is what got me back to watching Twitch, of just watching people doing randomizers of A Link to the Past, because it's just so good. It's S tier for me. That is where it's going to live on my in my head. But
because I don't remember it, and because it does obviously like kind of lead the path and lead the way for so many other Zelda games. Like there's no arguing that. I will give the S tier again, because like it obviously shaped so much of the rest of these games, even though I don't remember playing a lot of it. But it does feel very nostalgic to me. It does, have a lot of
you
like
should play it.
reasoning.
You should
Well,
revisit it.
that's why I looked up a second ago. I was thinking about it. I was like, do you know, or do they have it where I could play it on the DS at this point though? Because I only have the DS. I don't have
They
any
have
of the
two
old
versions
ones.
of it on the Switch.
Oh, okay. Well, I can do that
So
then. That works.
yeah, because it's on the SNES Virtual Console and the GBA Virtual Console.
Okay. And I'm still
Yeah.
I'm paying for the, like, I keep forgetting. It pops up on like my thing and it's like, hey, there's $50 for your year of online. And I'm
Yeah.
like, shit. I was like, I keep forgetting about that.
I'm gonna have to cancel that after once Switch 2 comes out.
Yeah, I need to stop forgetting about it. All right. Link's Awakening. Again, I'm trying so hard to remember some of these.
Did you play the remake that came out on the Switch?
I did. Is that on here? That's not on here, is it?
No. So
okay, so I'm gonna base my knowledge off of that. Is that it? Well, it is obviously.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
It obviously, like, it feels smoother. I think it's much nicer than the Game Boy version of it. I like when I remember. So in high school, I decided to 100% every Zelda game, and up until Tears of the Kingdom, I have done that. I still have to do that for Tears of the Kingdom. That's on my list for the year. But I remember the Game Boy Advance game, or not the Game Boy Color games being a bit of a slog. And I didn't love Link's Awakening, but I loved the remake.
I don't know. I think I'm torn between liking it and loving it, because at least the remake, because I think at that time when the remake came out, I was so Zelda deprived that I was like, anything at this point is like great.
Sure.
I think I liked it. I don't think I loved it though. So
where do you want to put this one?
I'm trying to think, like, where are some of these other ones going to fall for me? So based on where some of these other ones are going to fall, my first reaction is to say B.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll allow it.
I love the fucking like jury we have going on here. Like, okay, I'll take that one's okay. I'll allow.
I mean, in my list, I had it in A tier, but it's all about compromise. Podcasting's all about compromise, Lizzie.
I feel like this is where we're gonna argue right here. Okay,
this is where we're gonna argue.
No,
these
fuck
next
you.
Few games.
Ocarina of Time it belongs in S. It does. It's so.
it's
like I said, so much of this also comes from so much deep-rooted emotion for me. I have a really, really strong connection to Ocarina of Time. If you guys haven't heard about this, I talk about this a lot. I think it's part of who I am. My mom played Ocarina of Time. It's how I got into gaming. It's how I got into Zelda. So there's a lot of emotional side from this, but I still go back and I play that game. I love watching people play that game. It's so good. I love it. Alex, piss off.
I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's a really good video game. But when I think of S tier, I don't want that many games in S tier.
I understand, not that many, but that one deserves a spot.
It's kind of a ripoff of A Link's to the Past, and I think the next game on the N64 is a little bit better. Is where I sit with it.
Okay, then I will settle for A and nothing less.
I'd be happy with A.
My eye is twitching, y'all. I love this game. It's literally
I,
when
I
people are
mean,
like, "Where do I start with Zelda?" I personally say Ocarina of Time. Again, A Link to the Past, like, I didn't play that one, so I don't know as much information about that one. I have played Ocarina of Time so many fucking times through, it's not even funny. I love that game.
but okay. So when you think about all the Zelda games, like, would you put this above like? I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but like a Breath of the Wild.
Not above, but maybe side by side.
Okay, then we can put it in
No,
S
no, no,
tier
no,
if
it's
that'll
okay.
make you
It's okay.
happy.
No, 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 no. It's there. I'm not moving it now.
Wow, wow.
You guys are gonna see a lot of how Alex and I interact actually in this because let me tell you, I would have to find the clip and maybe I'll put it on Instagram or something. I had this is not the first time I've told Alex to piss off in my lifetime. We played Uno one time, and it's probably one of my favorite clips from when I streamed. That we're playing Uno, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I was talking to Alex at the time, and I was like, piss off. I get really competitive about things. Okay, it's really really bad.
See, Ocarina of Time for me also has a bit of a warm place in my heart because of all the like voice controlled Zelda stuff that I was doing with that when I was streaming.
Oh, it's where Lousy came to life.
Where that's where loading lousy came
Again.
to life.
Oh, that clip. Just yes, it holds such a dear place in my heart because like literally there are still people to this day who call me Lousy.
Yeah,
And if you guys didn't hear about this prior, so when Alex was streaming, he played Ocarina of Time with voice controls, and it was wild, which is why I have a shirt that literally has Link on it, and it says Tiny Scoot on it. And it was Alex's very short term like merch that I love. I still wear the shit out of that shirt because everything he did was with voice controls, and it was crazy. He got so far in that game. I would
I,
love to
I
see the end of it.
I know. There's a part of me that wants to go back to streaming just to finish that and then like never stream again.
I would live my happiest days.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm taking some time off in the this year, and I'm planning on doing a staycation. Maybe I'll do that.
Ooh, that would
Make
be
some
that would be fun.
kind of fun.
Um, okay.
I just don't want the grind of streaming anymore.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Um, next up is Majora's Mask. Again, I love this game. But
But
yeah, but when I what I don't know. This one's hard for me. So I'm gonna like I might be able to be a sliding scale a little bit because I love Majora's Mask. Again, I watched my mom play some of it and she never finished it. So it was really fun when I grew up a little bit and was able to like understand what was happening to be able to play it by myself.
yeah,
Um I love that this game hold on. Oh no, there it is. Just kidding. I love that this game just like it took such a different turn, and I think the time change, like the time ability of this game, fucks up so many people if you don't understand it.
yeah. If you don't understand the 3 day loop, and if you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm under time crunch to do things, like you are and you aren't, right? Like, because you can just restart
Hmm.
the loop.
I try to tell people when they start this game, I'm like, the best advice I could give you is to restart your days before you enter any kind of
Dungeon.
dungeon as like
Yeah,
because that does suck. It does suck. Like, or if you have a shit ton of money and you're like grinding to get money for something, and then all of a sudden your days are up and you're like, all of my stuff is gone. There's
that's why
nothing
you
I
go to
can
the
do.
bank.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people, again, like you don't realize it the first time playing, so like it takes some like
Yeah,
getting used to. Um, so for me, this one could go at S or A.
it.
Again, I'm a little bit sliding on this one because this one, when I look at other ones, and if we're like trying not to put all of them in S, I could potentially put this one in A.
It's my favorite Zelda game,
Yeah.
but because for me, like I really like it was the first video game that ever felt like I was in a living world
Mm.
because all of the people had their like schedules and you're like, oh, at noon on day 2 you can find Anju like in like next to the pond, right? Or the night of the first night you can watch the robber guy like rob the old lady and
Hmm.
um so I really liked that aspect of it. Like it felt a lot more immersive to me than like Ocarina of Time, where because in Ocarina of Time everyone besides the postman is just static, right?
Hmm.
Um,
It was really
and
cool.
I
I think they did a really good deep dive for side quests too.
yeah,
Like they had
and like
so many good side quests.
absolutely, like I think that game lives and dies by like how much you're willing to dive into the side content. Like if you just want to get from point A to point B, like as efficiently as possible. I can see why people like Ocarina of Time more because I think the best content in Ocarina of Time, generally speaking, is like the critical path of the game, right? Doing
Mhm.
all the dungeons.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like the best content in Majora's Mask, even though I think the dungeons are better in Majora's Mask, I think the best content is actually like the Bomber's Notebook stuff.
Mhm.
And I can understand why some people maybe don't like it as much.
I think
I love it.
it's also really cool because I forget about the whole like overarching like you if you get, and a lot of people don't know this, which I think is also kind of cool because they don't ever, I don't think they mention it or they tell you in the game that if you
Yeah,
collect all of the masks and then you get to the end and you played the kids games and you give all the masks away, you get the deity mask,
yeah,
which is a massive help in that fight. I struggled really bad as a kid with that fight, like really, really bad. And I remember being like, I remember I stopped and I was like, I don't know how to, I can't finish this fight. And then learning that I could have gotten all the masks and gotten that mask
the
back.
Fierce Deity Mask. Yeah,
Yeah. And being like, shit, like I might end up playing this entire game over just to collect all of them, just to come back to be able to finally finish the game. Um, I say S. We'll put it in S. I forget how many amazing levels of this game that they add, like the
yeah.
masks and the side quests that they end up doing.
Like all the stuff going on in the farm. I just
Mm-hmm.
love it. The alien invasion. What other Zelda game has an alien invasion?
Is there alien invasion?
Yeah,
I'm trying to
there's
remember.
an
It's been a minute.
yeah. You have to like when you're doing the milk like side
Oh,
quest,
uh-huh.
and you have to defend the barn.
That is funny. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
forgot about that one. Okay, we'll leave it. I like it. I like it for us. I like it for us. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Seasons. This is another
I
one. I don't think I played this one.
I personally, so it was a cool concept where you had like, there's two games, right? Oracle Seasons and Oracle of Ages
Uh-huh.
that are like linked and to, yeah, no pun intended, and to like get the full experience, you have to beat both games and like start the next game with like a code that you
Uh-huh.
get from game number one, which was like it was a cool concept. And
Interesting.
they were
Okay.
trying to do sort of like the Pokemon thing, right? Of like, oh, we have two different versions of the game,
Uh-huh.
but it's actually quite different. They're both quite good, and I'd love to see. Honestly, I'd love to see Nintendo do it again, mainly because I just want more 2D Zelda.
Mhm.
And I'd love to see them get the same like treatment that Link's Awakening does. But I think Link's Awakening, for me at least, like I thought the characters and the world in Link's Awakening is just like that extra weird and, spoiler alert, a little dreamlike.
Uh-huh.
Um, that I didn't feel like as connected to either Ages or Seasons in the same way. But
I would not be opposed to kind of, because seasons and ages, if what we're looking at is actually two different ones, we can kind of pair them.
yeah,
And I don't have a bit this. I remember having it. I definitely remember owning it. I never
yeah,
did play it, and I never watched anybody play it. So I have a zero knowledge about these games, to be honest.
I would plop them. I don't think they should be on the same level as Link's Awakening, so maybe we
Mm-hmm.
plop them in the C tier.
Yeah.
They're still good games. Everything on this list is a good game.
Oh
There's no such
yeah.
thing as a bad Zelda game.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to anyway. Um, Four Swords. I haven't played Four Swords, and we need to.
Yeah, that's one that I
At
owned
least
it.
this Four Swords, like the Game Boy Advance Four Swords.
Yeah, again, I owned it. I feel really bad for back to back I didn't plays, but I didn't. I didn't play Four Swords. I owned
But
it and
Lizzie,
never played it.
we can play it now.
That would be
It's
really
on.
cool.
It's on the Switch Virtual Console, and I just need friends. Okay.
Can we just play the two of us, or do you have to have four people?
I think you can play just the two of
Oh,
us,
well, that would be
but
dope.
I bet we could convince like other people to play it with us. I don't think it's that long. I think it's like 4 or 5 hours. Like we
Oh,
could just make a day of it.
that would be kind of fun. Yeah, we
Like,
let's file that back and do that sometime soon because that'd be great.
cause I remember when it got announced, I messaged you. I was like, Lizzie, please, can we play together? I need a Zelda friend,
That would be
and
fun.
we just haven't yet.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's file that and talk about that more because that would be fun. That would be great.
Okay.
But
Wind Waker.
considering neither one of us
Oh,
have played it yet, do
oh
we
yeah.
want to plop it in C? Maybe, like give it a
Oh,
fighting chance.
uh, let's just keep it off the list.
Yeah. Okay. I can. I can get down with that one.
Yeah.
All right, next up was Wind Waker.
Wind Waker.
I fucking
Have you
love
played
this
Wind
game.
Waker?
Oh my god, I love this game. I
I did.
love it.
I didn't like it when I played it on the GameCube, and then
Mhm.
I loved it when it came out on the Wii U, and I got the Swift sale
Mhm.
and all the bullshit around like changing the winds and
Mhm.
sailing became maybe also my brain was a little bit better formed then, but
Mhm.
like yeah, I really like the HD version on Switch, not on Switch, on Wii U, and I hope it comes to Switch too.
I remember thinking this was so cool in this game because of the eye situation in this game. And I remember thinking, like,
Mhm.
when I realized it and like heard about it, I thought it was super neat that this was one of the games where they talk about how if you watch where Link is looking in this
Yeah,
game, it is a like a key to which way he's going, or
yeah.
where he needs to go, which I thought was really cool as a kid. I was like, oh my god, like
Oh, neat.
I was like, oh, so high tech, like it's so intuitive, like how neat. So that one, I remember thinking this was super cool. I loved the red dragons. I remember loving like the bird people,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which and then going into like Breath of the Wild and like having like Rivali and all them, like I was like, oh, this is
Mhm.
so cool because it's a lot like it's people from the Wind Waker brought over. Um,
I
y-
also like I just think of like all the iconic music in that
Super
game
good music. Yep.
and a lot of the sound effects. I feel like when I see people that have Zelda sound effects, they're often using Wind Waker sound effects. Like I think it's a great game.
Yeah, I liked that they kept up with the music too, and they switched it up from an ocarina to him like having his little like I don't even know I don't
The
know.
Wind Waker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like a conductor's baton.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, there was just so many good parts of this game, and I loved so much about it. I liked the dungeons.
Yeah,
It felt so different than the ones prior. It was their first, like, in my opinion, more like open world ish game. I mean, yeah, you got cut off at some point, but that map was huge. You could, I mean, at the
yeah.
time, it was huge. You could sail for so long, find random islands, investigate, come back. Yeah, it just so much of this game I really really loved. So for me, again, I'm kind of a sliding scale on this one of between S and A.
Would you put it above Ocarina of Time?
No. Well,
I think
here's the problem. I would have put Ocarina of Time in S, so it would have went right next to it.
we can.
But
We still can.
no, 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 no. We're not moving anything now. Um, I'm
All
trying to think
right.
of what else I probably would put in S. Uh,
There's at least
mm,
two more that I want to talk about as contenders for S tier.
I'm gonna say A.
Okay.
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, cool. Because yeah, I'm thinking of I need to save as many like spots for S as I can, and there is
I
potentially
feel like I've used up my
two
two.
more that no. I like I said, I love this because I love the argument that we're getting out of this of like how we feel about some of these games. So don't feel like you've ran out of your spots. What is this? Is this just the remake of Four Swords? What
Uh,
is this? I can't see. I'm
no,
so
so
fucking
so
blind.
that's Four Swords Adventures on the GameCube,
Oh.
which was sort of like an arcadey version of like so it was single player, but you could play it with multiple with like the Game Boy Advances like hooked up to the GameCube, with that like adapter.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think this game is where I got my like adapter cord for that.
Oh wait, I got
I
mine for Wind Waker
yeah,
because you could use
so
Tingle and yeah,
yeah.
there was all kinds of things you could do.
And I remember actually getting this game in Montreal. I was on like a family trip in Montreal and we got it and it came in a big box and I remember traveling home with it and being excited to play. Um, I I didn't love the game,
Yeah,
but it was like it was cool, but I don't know if I'd put it I don't know if I'd put it above C personally.
yeah. Again, I'll go with you because it's not one that I have any. I didn't even know that that was a thing. To be completely honest, like a lot of these I've heard of. This one I don't know if I knew
Right.
absolutely anything. So I'm totally okay with this. Minish Cap. One I haven't played, but I know it's highly regarded. Like people love Minish Cap.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that think that like Minish Cap's the best 2D Zelda, and while they're wrong, I um I think it's a really great game.
It is on my
It
list of games to go back and try. Like, some of these, I'm like, I don't know if I care enough to go back and try to play. This one, I do want to go back and try to play.
Honestly, if there was a 2D Zelda game I think you would enjoy and should go back and play, it is Minish Cap.
Mhm.
It's got really charming graphics. The whole going from large to small is cool. The Kinstone grind gets a little tedious towards the end. But I think it's got like really great visuals, and it's really fun to like got fun movement and combat mechanics, and it's surprisingly like how complex the combat gets for basically being based off of two buttons,
Uh-huh.
right? So I think certainly should be in either B or A, and
I was gonna
I'd be happy with
say,
either.
I'll go, yeah, I'm gonna go B, like I said, just based on what I know.
Mhm. You should play it though.
Yeah, like I said, there's a few, especially looking at some of these, I'm like, wow, there's a handful that I haven't played for somebody who claims to have played a lot of them.
Wow.
Um,
Maybe we'll just have to really dive in on the whole Lizzie only plays Zelda thing, and we just have an entire Zelda arc where we
eh,
just play through the Zelda series together.
yeah. I'm totally down for that. Um, I love this game, by the way, Twilight Princess.
Twilight
Um,
Princess, great game.
Great game. First time that I felt like they went really dark and a little bit more scary and like just like a very, very dark vibe.
Mm.
Because I think Ganon has always been a bit dark, but this like physically, like the camera, like it, like there was a lot of like just physically dark moments where like you can't see as well. There's a lot going on, but also like even Zelda herself is in a lot of like hiding aspects. And it was the first time that I was like, wow, this feels a bit different. And I
It
loved the freaking art style.
Yeah, the art style, it was like definitely a response to how bright Wind Waker was, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the first. That's the like Twilight Princess is the first Zelda game that really felt like epic to me,
Mm-hmm.
where you have characters that you're following with like really interesting stories. You're like Hyrule is huge,
Yep.
perhaps a little empty, but huge.
Yep.
And I remember I remember getting it for the GameCube the year that it came out and playing it the entire Christmas break, just 12 hours a day, every day, for a week and a half or two
Mm-hmm.
weeks or whatever. And it's a really great game. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think that as like somebody who hates sneaking around, I didn't. Well, no, that one doesn't have the one where you sneak around, is it? That's the other one. Uh, this
This
one,
this this one had the wolf,
where you
right?
had to go find. I'm thinking of the thing where you had to like go find those little,
The tears or
yeah,
whatever.
the little buggers, the little like bug things. I also was a huge fan of Midna. I think she came really
Mm,
close next to Navi for me. I was, of course, like really sad to see Navi go anytime that they chose not to use her. But I loved her little sarcasm and she was just cute. And then being able to, when you get further into the game, you can switch between like being able to be a wolf. I thought was
yeah.
really, really cool. So it just based off of the game and the dungeons, and again, like I loved that art style. I think Twilight Princess Zelda is one of my favorite versions. I think she's
Mm.
incredible. I this is one of my S tier ones.
I agree.
Okay, cool. I love that. That's kind of what I thought when I saw it. I was like, I'm pretty sure we have the same thoughts about uh Twilight Princess, which is
That
good.
one of the only ones that we fully agree on.
Phantom Hourglass. I did play this one. I'm looking it up because I'm trying to remember exactly because Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks get a little
Phantom
mixed
Hourglass is
in
the
my
one in the
mind.
boats,
Uh-huh.
and you got the Temple of the Ocean King,
Yup.
and you got oh, what's his name? The cowardly like smuggler guy who you share the boat with, and then he becomes a hero at the end. Um,
Oh, what is his I know who you're talking it's
he's got real like kind of
uh-huh,
vibes to
uh-huh.
him.
Because he's not only in the I mean, he's like one of the main characters here, but Lineback, or
Lineback,
Beck.
yep.
It's Beck. He was in He was in isn't he in another game too? He's
I don't
not
think so.
just in this one. He's part of a mini game for another one, isn't he? Maybe not.
Oh, he might be. Yeah,
Um, this one, I'm trying to think because between Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, I didn't finish one of them. I remember I got stuck and got really pissed off and stopped playing. And it might have been Spirit Tracks. I don't think it was this one. I do remember liking this game a lot. I played it. What was it? It was on DS.
It was on DS,
Yep.
and it's also on Wii U, technically
I played it
speaking.
on the DS, and I remember enjoying it a decent bit, like, for kind of a offhand, like, DS and not, like, a console game. I
Yeah.
remember, like I remember really enjoying it.
Yeah, I think the common criticism of it is that you go back to the Temple of the Ocean King a lot and like
Mhm.
have to redo a lot of puzzles,
Yeah.
even though like some of the items give you like shortcuts and stuff. Um, and I remember the first time I played this, my friend had borrowed my DS, and like so on you had to like take notes on your map.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
I do remember
and
that.
and my friend drew dicks all over my map and completely ruined my like all of my notes were erased, and it was just a map of dicks. And, and I had to like redo the whole game because I was like, I don't remember like all of the symbols for warping and all the notes I
Oh
had for
my
Temple of the Ocean
god.
King. I was so upset. I was so upset.
You're
So
making me remember so much of this game. It's been a long time. I think I only played it once. I played it when it came out, so and I have it. It's on my shelf above me. But that's funny just because I that it's bringing back some memories of playing the game. Yeah. Definitely
yeah,
would have been annoyed because I do remember needing to like write down things and remember things. And if those
yeah.
things got erased, it was like
But look,
game fucking over.
12-year-old boys will be 12-year-old boys,
Eh.
and he had to draw some dicks all over my maps. So I don't know, man.
um This one's tricky because I'm somewhere. I'll say, I don't know. I'm somewhere between B and C
I am too.
because it
I am
wasn't
too.
one that made a huge impact as a kid, like a Wind Waker or Twilight Princess.
No,
But I do remember enjoying myself when I played it, and I'm trying to decide if I think Spirit Tracks and Hourglass need to go on the same, or if I held one over the other.
I feel like they're different enough games.
They are, but my thing was, did I enjoy one more than the other
Sure.
one? And so I'm gonna say, because I really think it was Hourglass that I finished and Spirit Tracks that I did not. I'm gonna
Right.
say maybe this one I would put in B.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Spirit Tracks to me was very, very similar to Phantom Hourglass. The way you were traveling,
I liked that you had Zelda as a companion.
that one was cool, and she was a lot more useful and helpful than other games.
Yeah. And you know what? Trains are really cool. Trains are great. Shout
Especially
out to songs about
songs on
trains.
especially songs
Shout
about trains.
Yeah.
Again, I don't remember a lot about this one though. It's just hard because like let's see. Spirit I'm curious.
I
When did this game come out?
I mean, it would have come out like
2009.
2008, 2009. Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've played that game.
I feel like it addressed a lot of a lot of complaints around Temple of the Ocean King.
Mhm.
I feel like oftentimes the DS games are pretty like maligned by people. Like I think they're generally like considered some of the weaker games in the series.
Uh-huh.
I think that they're pretty comparable in quality, but like just looking ahead at what we have left to play or what to talk about.
Mhm.
I also think that this is either a B tier or a C tier, either bottom of B or top of C.
Um I'm probably gonna we'll go I like I said, I kinda wanted to go C just because I'm like, I don't think I
Sure.
finished it. I think I got so annoyed by this game. And I could be thinking opposite. It could have been that I finished this one and not the other one, but I'm pretty sure it's this one. So I'll go C just because again, it just was like I liked it and I liked the train, but if I had to pick trains over the boats, the boat one was way cooler. Sorry,
Yeah.
Joey. Um
Joey's in shambles. I still think trains are cool, Joey. Don't worry.
okay, so this one is rough. Skyward Sword.
Uh, so I think Skyward Sword has a really great story. Obviously, you get a lot of Zelda time.
Uh-huh.
They really ship Link and Zelda in that.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I think the I like the art style a lot.
Yep.
I hated the motion controls,
Yep.
and the Switch port made it marginally better because I could play with a controller, but still, like,
It was
because of
horrible.
the controls were still not great.
Yeah. I think that's why this one got bumped down for me, because the controls for this pissed me off so much. Like, it made it not enjoyable for me. I liked the story. A lot of people argue that this is like the beginning of the Zelda timeline.
Sure.
You know how
Oh, go ahead.
just like how Zelda becomes, the what is Hylian, or whatever the goddess,
Hylia.
yeah, goddess Hylia, and all that stuff. So a lot of people argue with this, that this is the beginning of the timeline.
Mm.
I could not stand your little helper there. What is her fee? Fi?
Fi is the most, like, is the worst companion by
Yes.
a lot.
Yes. I do think that the bad guy in this one,
Girahim.
yes, was funny. He was a good switch up
Yeah,
for the villain arc, though, so I could appreciate that. But yeah, Fi made me want to pull my hair out. The controls made me want to pull my hair out. I liked the story, didn't love it though. I know a lot of people are like it's a great game because of the story, but I was very like about it, to be honest.
sure. I think it's got some, like, the level design is really cool. The overworld felt very dungeon like. And I agree that, like, Fi and the controls really, like, take it down at least one notch on
Mm-hmm.
the tier list for me.
Yeah. So where were you gonna put it? What were
I
you
was gonna say
thinking?
B.
Yeah, okay, same. I agree. It just it's I think it is such a detrimental game, but it just did not live up to some of the other ones.
It's one of those games, I think, that, like, you either love it or you hate it,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I just don't love it.
What is this?
That's A Link Between Worlds. So that is a 3D. The next game is A Link Between Worlds. It's on 3DS. It was sort of a semi reimagining of A Link to the Past, where you're, like, you're able to merge onto the wall and, like, cross over to, like, other ledges by just
Mhm.
going along the wall. Um, I really liked it.
Oh, okay.
But I'm also a big Link to the Past fanboy. So anything that was like, hey, remember Link to the Past? Do you want to play it? Play that exactly, but, like, just slightly different. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, I do.
See,
So,
this was another one that I don't know anything about and I did not play.
which surprises me because it was on the 3DS.
Yeah, I know. I think this was probably during the gap of Lizzie not wanting to be a gamer and being like, I don't want to play video games.
Wow,
Really trying to hide myself away.
sure.
So I think this might have been, let's see, when did it get released? This will also 2013.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was a big gap around this time where I wasn't gaming. I was in high school. I had so many other things going on. So I think that's probably why it kind of got passed over for me.
Honestly, if you can find it at, like a used, like, reasonable price,
Uh-huh.
it's worth a play. I think you would enjoy it more than A Link to the Past at this point.
Yeah, I actually do. We have a store down the street that has it's like a resale place, like a
Right.
privately owned one, not
Like a
like a
pawn shop.
GameStop. Yeah. And
Mhm.
that's because they typically have 64s there that I always look at and go, I really want to buy one. But my husband's always like, we're not going to buy one for it to just sit on a shelf. I'm like, one, yes, I will. B, I do have, I don't know, 8 or 9 Nintendo 64 cartridges that I would love to go back and play. Like I have Donkey
Sure.
Kong, I have a Toy Story game that I want to play.
Yeah.
So we do have one that I'm interested in going back and looking at. So maybe I'll go and look for this.
I think it's a worthwhile time.
Hmm.
It's a lot of fun. It's pretty easy to 100%. Like, it's a good game.
Where would you put it?
I mean, probably either B or A. That's
I'll
where that's where it sits for me.
give me the final one because, like I said, I've never played it, so I'm a pawn this one off on you.
I'm gonna say A just because we need to keep the curve.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I
we
don't
need
know
to keep
how
the
many.
normal
Well,
distribution.
I feel like again we're gonna come into some arguments here soon. Triforce Heroes.
I haven't played.
Neither have I, so we can leave that one off because.
Great.
Let me hold on.
I don't even fully consider it a mainline Zelda game.
Which one was this? Is
This is
this
like this is the 3-player one on the
okay?
3DS that like yeah, I
What was
think
the
there's some
mob one that was
the mob
on
one?
it came out on the Switch, I think, where like you like
What?
huh?
Like the Mafia?
No, no, like the mobs,
Like,
like you
are
had
you
like
thinking of
waves.
Yakuza?
You know, you had
Um,
like waves of like mobs, like of like the moblins would come
oh,
in and like it would be like a ton
you
of them and like
oh, that's Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors.
yeah, I hated that too. Wasn't a fan of that
Yeah.
one. I just realized that that wasn't on here. That's all.
There was a Hyrule Warriors that was like based off of um like kind of continuing the story of Breath of the Wild, which I
See,
actually kind of enjoyed.
that one, that's the one that I'm thinking of. And I had it and I think I played all of like 10 minutes trying to get into it, being like, oh, I want to play. It's like Breath of the Wild. And I was like,
No,
I'm not a fan. Don't like this. All right.
it's not Breath of the Wild
We will
at
leave
all.
this off considering neither
Yeah,
one of us played Breath
Breath
of
of the
the
Wild.
Wild. I'm sorry. You will never convince me that doesn't belong in S.
Oh, I
Great. Beautiful.
no
I was a little
complaints here.
scared we were going to argue about that one. And
I used to
again,
speed run this game. I have fond memories of Bingo.
oh, yeah,
I
we did
It's
play
probably
Zelda
the Zelda
Bingo.
game. It's probably the Zelda game I have the most hours in. Like I love
Same.
Breath of the Wild.
What is it? I have 500 hours in Breath of the Wild. I've played this game over and over and over. I love it. I think it was such a detrimental like change, like a great change to The Legend of Zelda, it being like open world. I waited forever for this game to come out. Oh my gosh. I remember when they like leaked like pieces of it and I remember like messaging my mom being like, "Oh my god, this looks so cool."
Yeah.
And then it came out and if you guys didn't hear the story last time, I at the time was in school to be a teacher and with each class I had the ability to get like these certificates. I could send them to the state would send me money back for like classroom supplies or to pay off my tuition. Well, Lizzie decided to take all that money and buy a new Switch and Breath of the Wild,
Fair.
and then call out of
Very fair.
work and be like, I'm sick, and play Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So obvious D tier. Obviously D tier.
um, this game just it changed everything for me. I loved
It's the formation of our friendship.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. It's just incredible. I love rewatching people play too. It's one of my favorite games to watch people play because people are like, or people being like, "Oh, don't watch me play. I feel weird because I don't know what I'm doing." I'm like, nobody knew what they were doing. This game
Wow.
is a
Think
test.
about that, Lizzie. Playing a game where you don't know what you're
No, I
doing,
know.
but you just
Well, people feel really weird about this game because it's so puzzle oriented that people are like, I feel stupid. I'm like, but there's so many different ways to play this game. Like
I was
you
thinking more like with Baldur's Gate, but
no.
yes.
Listen, that game stresses me the fuck out, okay? But it's just it's meant to be able to be played so many different ways and it really does stretch your mind a bit in so many of
Mhm.
like the divine beasts where you're like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to do this? And so on top of loving how like being able to play it, I love watching people to play. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
I love it. I will always go back. Um Tears of the Kingdom.
So it should be a better game than Breath of the Wild, but I don't know if it is.
I
Like on paper, it's like Breath of the Wild, but then everything else that's more, and then they're like, "Oh, do you want a second map?" And then you're like, "Yeah, I do." And like the dungeons were cooler, but
mhm.
it just didn't land for me as
I
much.
thought they were going to bring back old school dungeons in this game. I really did. I really thought
Yeah.
that we were going to get more of like a dungeon vibe, and I was really disappointed to see that we didn't.
They were
Uh,
more thematic than the Divine Beasts. Like the Divine Beasts all look the same. At least like the dungeons in this game had some differences to them, right?
mhm.
Where like the underground one was all dark, and you had the rails that you're going along, and the one in the sky had like a cool kind of wintry aesthetic.
Mhm. I didn't enjoy it as much. It was fun, but not nearly as good. And also, my God, when you ran into those freaking hands and they come up from underneath and it starts like screaming, I also was screaming and like shitting myself and running away.
Sure.
So yeah, I would say I'm gonna say A. I think I liked
Sure.
it better than a lot of these, but definitely did not like it as much as like we said, like Breath of the Wild or Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
This
And then we
fucking
come to
game.
Echoes of Windows. Echoes of Wisdom.
um, this game really shook me, to be honest, and we've talked about this previously
Yeah.
of how this game. This is a tricky one for me because did I enjoy this? Yes. I liked
Sure.
a lot of this game. I was very unsure about how I was going to feel about just being able to wield things and just being able to like mimic things basically. And I was like, I don't know how great this is going to be, but I did enjoy a lot of it. I liked a lot of those dungeons. It's
Yeah.
very unfortunate that I enjoyed the game and then I got to the end and all of my love for this game got smushed in a matter of moments.
Yeah, that's quite the ending.
Yep. And spoiler if you haven't played, I'm so sorry, you should have already done it, but um there's so much excitement and there was so much excitement that we finally got a game where we were able to play as Zelda. And then what do? They let us wield, and then we get to the end, and it's, hey, you have a bow, and you have bombs, and you have all this stuff that you can actually use to defend yourself, but you now have to hand it over to Link. And nothing against Link, I love Link, but there was a choice there by the developers of the game to now have Zelda not fight for herself, to only just run, basically.
Yeah,
The
it was I think it was pretty sexist.
it was
I'm just gonna
yes.
say it. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna come out swinging. I was pretty upset by that.
Yep. And I didn't realize how bad it was going to piss me off until I got there. And there's like that moment where you're like, there's like a portal or whatever you have to go through, and Try is like, hey, give the sword back to Link. And I was very much like, no, this is my sword now, bitch. This belongs to me. And
Yeah.
then what happens? You get through there and it's like, follow Link. And I'm like, no. I've just led this entire story by myself. I don't need to follow him. I get to be the main character still. And yeah. And then you get to
Yeah, they really fumbled the bag there. Like
it was bad.
it was bad.
It just was not enjoyable all of a sudden.
Yeah. I think that ending like just excludes it from SNA for sure.
I agree. I was going to say B because again, I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. I really did. There was a lot of that game that I had fun. It just really sucked when I got to the end and it felt very tainted to me, which sucks. But
Absolutely.
you know, it is what it is. So yeah, man, the rampage I could go on about that game. It just really
I know.
it pissed me off so much. And then for them, like you had said, that they basically said it. They knew what they were doing. They were like, yeah, we didn't want Zelda to be the hero, basically.
Yeah, it was an active choice of like, oh, Zelda's a princess, so she can't wield a sword. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that the ruler of Hyrule didn't command the military. My bad.
Yeah.
But it's some cultural BS that I agree with, and it also took away from my enjoyment of the game. But honestly, even leading up to that, because I was like, you know, the whole like, oh, we have a crafting system, we're gonna make smoothies. How does that feel, girly pop? I'm like, all right, like let's. There's just a lot of aspects to that game where I'm like, you were so close.
So close. Oh my gosh, it could have been so much better, but you know, it is what it is. It tainted me for a bit. I was very upset about it, but I think that this is great though. Like I think looking at it, I would not. I mean, maybe I would change a few things, but
there's at least one thing I think you would change.
Yeah.
Do we want to read for the listeners? Do we want to read what each of the tiers, like what games are in each tier?
Go ahead, because like I said, I can't read some of these and I don't know them off the top of my head.
Okay, so S tier we have A Link to the Past, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild. A tier, we have Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, A Link Between Worlds, Tears of the Kingdom. B tier, we have Link's Awakening, The Minish Cap, Phantom Hourglass, Skyward Sword, and Echoes of Wisdom. C tier, the original Legend of Zelda, Oracles of Ages and Seasons, and oh god, the train one.
Spirit
The
Tracks.
train one. D tier is Link's Adventure of Link and Four Swords Adventures.
And then we have the two that were unplayed that maybe Alex and I will delve into, being Four Swords and Triforce Heroes.
Yeah.
I would typically say let us know if we're wrong or where you would replace them, but no, you're wrong, we're right. Sorry.
Absolutely. That is correct. That is correct. Ocarina of Time is A tier. We are correct.
Okay, besides that one. This was fun. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
We had talked about this, I think, before we decided we were going to do the last episode the way that we did the last episode, talking about Switch 2. This was sitting on the docket. And so I was excited for this because I did want to see where Hiplop or Alex and I kind of aligned, where we differed, and what we ended up coming up with, which I can appreciate this. Yes, would I have put Ocarina of Time in S? Yes. But with that being aside, I think this ended up really, really good. There's so many good Zelda games. There's so many that maybe had fallen a little bit short. But like Alex said earlier, I don't think you can go wrong with the Zelda game. They're just that good. That
They are.
They're just incredible. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys listening. I assume by the time that we put this out tonight, we typically have a handful of downloads right away, which is always really awesome. We will be hitting 500 downloads most likely tonight and tomorrow, which is really crazy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What episode number is this? 15?
You're testing my knowledge of our own podcast to be completely. No, not 15. We're way past that. This is going to be 18.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I that's what I thought. I thought the last one was 17. So this is 18. Almost 500 downloads, which is really cool too, is our first episode, not the Nice to Meet You one, but our actual first one is nearing in on 100 downloads. So if you haven't listened to that one, you should go listen. It's a good one. We also talk about Zelda in that one.
And Horizon, probably.
And probably Horizon. And at that point, not Dragon Age, but
not Dragon Age.
Maybe World of Warcraft.
Maybe.
But yeah, just want to say we appreciate you guys. And I'm sorry if this doesn't go up on YouTube. It kind of is a base by base situation of how it looks when it gets exported. And just as of recently, they haven't been, for some reason, they've been really choppy, and I don't want it for you guys to watch. But it will be fixed soon, hopefully. But we appreciate you guys, and thank you guys so much for watching, and bye guys.